All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the 2023 virtual conference of the Online Writing Centers Association. My name is Kim Faley-Peck, and I am the conference chair. And I want to welcome all of those who are here today, as well as those who might be viewing the recordings after the conclusion of the live conference. We have a really exciting program for this year's conference, and I'm so excited for you all to hear from our great presenters. So a little bit about how the conference works, just to make sure everyone is comfortable. All conference files and Zoom links are located on our OWCA conference webpage. There's a full conference program as well as separate pages for Thursday and Friday synchronous sessions. The Thursday page contains the abstracts, Zoom links, and presentation materials for all sessions hosted today. The materials from all asynchronous sessions are also available. We encourage you to use the share and comment form under each to submit questions and feedback to our asynchronous presenters or join them during our Q&A sessions. Accessibility is an important value of the Online Writing Center Association and therefore this conference. So all presenters were asked to share materials for their sessions that follow principles of accessible document design. We know that our requirements for accessibility are higher than most other conferences, and we appreciate our presenters taking the time to learn and implement these principles to ensure that our conference is as accessible as possible. Additionally, during synchronous sessions, there will be sign language interpretation and/or live transcription available for all sessions. If you have any questions or concerns throughout the conference, please reach out to the conference email, owca-conference@onlinewritingcenters.org for assistance. Our conference sessions today start at 11:30, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m., 6 p.m., and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be 3 roundtable discussions today. The first focuses on developing multimodal feedback for ESL writers, the second on evolving multimodality in context, and the third on examining multimodal training activities. We'll also have 3 workshops today. The first is centered on principles of equitable data visualization, the second on developing a consulting philosophy, and the third on administrative approaches to supporting multimodal tutoring online. Today's conference also includes 2 synchronous Q&A sessions for 6 of our asynchronous presentations. Finally, we encourage you to end your Thursday with one of our community fun events. Relax and unwind by creating an OWCA zine or through a virtual yoga class. If there are any sessions that you're interested in but are not able to attend, please note that we will be posting recordings for all workshops and roundtables. These recordings should be available approximately 2 weeks after the conference so that we can include edited closed captions and transcripts for the videos. For Q&A sessions, we'll be compiling Q&A documents for each asynchronous session that will be posted with their materials. Conference material will be available through June for all OWCA members. And some presenters have been elected to add their materials to the OWCA scholarship database, so you'll have access to them after the end of the conference as well. All right, I'm going to turn things over to a representative from our accessibility committee who can talk a little bit about the committee and OWCA's interest in accessibility and how this intersects with the conference theme of multimodality.
Thanks, Kim. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Madeline Carroll. I introduced myself in the chat, but just to go through it again, I am the accessibility chair for OWCA. I am working on my PhD at Indiana University of Pennsylvania in composition and applied linguistics. And I tutor in our graduate editing service and coordinate our graduate writing groups. I don't believe my co-chair is here, but Danette Bartolome is my co-chair. And just to go through quickly some of our objectives for this year, we are currently working on supporting the conference committee. We've been working on that since the beginning of the year and helping them get set up for everything today. We are also going to be working on our accessibility statement, which we published part of actually earlier this week, but we are going to continue working on it and adding different modalities for it. And then I'm hoping to offer some support for other centers who might be trying to write their own accessibility statement. And I'm going to add this document in here. It's just a written version of this presentation with a little bit more information. It also has some links in there. So like I said, last year we were working on our accessibility statement. We got it done, but we're still working on some of it. But this was just a little bit of our process in writing that statement. We started by reflecting as a committee on what we think accessibility is and what it means to OWCA. And then we had a summer working group where we pulled members from OWCA and they helped us actually write the statement. And then as a committee, we went in and did our own revisions, and we got board approval in November of 2022. We are working on the second part of our statement, and we are going to continue to edit and audit as we go through it. Now, the statement itself, and this is linked in that document I sent if you wanted to go ahead and take a look at it. It's focused on giving definitions and referencing other sources about accessibility in order to define what we mean when we're talking about accessibility and what it means for OWCA. It also lists out, our objectives, our regular objectives as stated in the bylaws as a committee. The objectives we've already met, and then objectives for each year will be added as we go through each year. Thanks. So Kim and Erica asked me to talk a little bit about how accessibility and multimodality intersect. So I pulled this one question from the call for proposals, which is how can multimodality support and or challenge accessibility in online tutoring? My short answer to this is it makes it accessible in a lot of ways. It makes it much more accessible than maybe before, but it also has new issues of accessibility that we have to talk about and kind of figure out how to meet those needs. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So for me, there are two really important facets of accessibility. And the first one here is disability and neurodiversity. Multimodality supports disability and neurodiversity in the Writing Center because it gives writers easier ways to learn, ways to learn that might work better for them. So for example, here we might have writers who cannot process verbal information as quickly as others. I'm kind of pulling from my own experience there because I do much better with verbal information, with written information. And it can also help tutors who struggle to keep their focus and run productive sessions, which is another thing I pulled from my own experience with. Some new challenges that are brought up by multimodality are technological issues can make things a lot more difficult, especially if you rely solely on that technology to learn. And these techniques may not be productive for everybody. So some people learn best in in-person settings. The second facet of this that is important to me is the financial and technical access side of things. So for many people, receiving online tutoring can make tutoring actually possible to fit into their lives, into their schedules, and kind of work around their responsibilities. Receiving tutoring in different modes without having to leave for work or home provides new kinds of access. Specifically, I'm thinking people who may not be able to afford to take time off of work, or people who may not be able to afford transportation or childcare. That makes tutoring a lot easier for people who have those kinds of responsibilities. Some new challenges, as we see with the pandemic, online learning is pretty exclusive to people who can afford technology and can access the internet. That leaves a large portion of the population out of this. So that is certainly a new challenge that we have to kind of learn how to meet. For both groups though, and the important thing with accessibility is there is no one right answer to making things more accessible. The important thing is that we are trying to make things as accessible as we can, and it makes it easier for everybody to access. So it gives us multiple ways of meeting different needs, multiple ways of learning and meaning making. And it makes it possible for everybody to do so rather than just people who have the ability to do so, yeah. Can you go to the next slide, please? So just wanted to leave you with some questions to think about as you go through the day. So some kind of reflective questions for you. What issues of accessibility do you notice in your own center, and how might you remedy those? How could you make things more accessible for the people around you? And what do you as a center value in terms of accessibility? So what I just talked about were things that I value in terms of accessibility. What about you? And how do you meet those values now, and how can you improve in meeting them? And another thing I just wanted you to think about was, if you were to write an accessibility statement, what would you want to include in that statement? And last thing for me here, if you would like to join our committee, we are always looking for new members. We will be electing a co-chair at the end of this year, so applications will go out for that later on. The position works closely with the committee chair to meet the objectives that we set as an organization as a whole, but also as a committee. And you work closely with other committees, such as the conference committee, like we've done here. And we also, as a committee member, they've also had done a lot of work with helping us with the conference. So there's lots of opportunities to support the OWCA as a whole, and we're always looking for new members. And I think that's it for me.
Great. Thanks so much, Madeline. Yeah, we wanted to take the opportunity at the beginning kind of each day to spotlight some of the work that OWCA is doing and encourage you to kind of think about these larger concepts like accessibility throughout our sessions. So thank you, Madeline, for giving us some questions to think about as we move from workshops to roundtables to the asynchronous Q&As, that we can keep accessibility in our minds throughout all of this, because I think for many of us, our interest in online writing center work is rooted in thinking about accessibility and inclusivity. And so that's an important thing for us to keep in mind as we go throughout the day of the conference. So I want to share some thank yous for being able to get this conference to you all today. A huge thank you to my conference co-chair, Erica. We have been, I think, a dynamic duo, and I could not have done it without her. We also have a really large group of conference volunteers that have participated in various parts, whether it is from planning the conference, doing accessibility checks of materials that have come in, serving as moderators for our sessions today, or helping us with transcription for creating closed captions of our recordings at the conclusion of the conference. Online conferences have a lot of technological components, and we could not do it without the volunteers from the OWCA organization. We also want to thank our wonderful interpreters from More Interpreting that are here today for helping us create more accessibility as part of these presentations. And finally, we want to thank the International Writing Center Association. We are an affiliate of them, and they provide us some funding that help us put this conference on. So we've got a nice long day today. Let's think about kind of what is coming up next. So we have a workshop for session A. So this will be starting in about 15 minutes. So we'll be looking at principles of equitable data visualization. All of our workshops and roundtables will be here in this same Zoom room. So I'm going to kind of wrap up this introduction in just a minute, and you are welcome to stay in this room, hang out for a few minutes until our workshop starts, same with between all the other sessions, or come out and come back in as works best kind of for your schedule. Thank you all so much. We are so excited to have you all here, or to have you be engaging with these materials after the conference. I think that OWCA's commitment to making sure that all members have access to the conference is really wonderful, and a way for us to provide just this excellent professional development at a low cost. And we're very thankful for OWCA for doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this introduction section, give you all a few minutes before we get started with our great lineup of sessions today.